saw a news source on TikTok say that the cost of groceries are going to be going up significantly next year in 2026 in Canada. And living here, I'm going, how is it even possible? Because it's outrageous as it is. They're saying on average, a family of 4 is predicted to spend about $17,000 next year on groceries. That is $1,000 more already than what we're spending this year, which is $16,000 in 2025, which is absolutely insanity. How can people even afford to live at that rate? You have to be making above 6 figures to maintain that lifestyle. If I go to the grocery store now and I buy 3 to 4 items, I minimum, cheaply, I'm spending $20. That's on a good day. $20 gets me maybe 3 to 4 items if I'm lucky. I am barely surviving, let alone a family of 4. It seems so corrupt, it seems so wrong. And then they're saying the reasoning for the price increase is potential tariffs, which, thank you so much, Donald Trump. Also, for some reason, the price of beef is going to skyrocket. I don't even know why. They didn't even say why. It just said, yep, we're going to skyrocket the price of beef. And then they even said chicken is substantially supposed to be going up. So are we just not allowed to be happy anymore? If y'all see me panhandling on the street next year, this is why. Is because this is out of control and this is outrageous, and we should be more infuriated that this is going on, because no one is going to be able to afford to live under those circumstances. Food is just a normal necessity that people need access to, and the fact that you're gouging this much, I know for a fact those groceries are way overpriced.
Price of groceries has gotten so absurd. No wonder people aren't having children anymore, and the birth rate is declining. Like how the elites just keep saying, oh, we need higher birth rate and we need to have more children as a society, and yet they don't understand the average citizen is struggling so much that they don't have the money and the time and the energy to raise any children. Because raising kids is very expensive, and with the price of rent and the price of groceries being so expensive these days, people can barely afford to live themselves, let alone raising more people in their household. Unfortunately, I think the problem with declining birth rate is only going to get worse, which is why you see so many rich billionaires talking about developing AI as fast as they could, and robotics and automation, because they want to use these technologies in the future essentially to replace the entire labor force. So instead of like human labor, you'll have a bunch of AI robots running around that'll help them generate the profits they need in the future, so that labor shortage won't be a primary concern anymore.
For some chips, it's crazy. Yeah, and then for the reading. $28. For some cheese though? Ain't no way. $8. $6. When have watermelons been $8?
ABC News just said grocery.
This is the book of Revelation 6, verse 6, in the NLT. And I heard a voice from among the 4 living beings saying, a loaf of bread or 3 loaves of barley will cost a day's pay, and don't waste the olive oil and wine. And as we get closer and closer to the end of Esau Edom, the so-called white man's world, we are seeing more and more miseries coming upon the world, and more prophecies coming to pass. First and foremost, before I get started, I want to thank Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. And I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kadash. Excuse me. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who teach and rule well, who taught me this truth. Salutation, you brothers and sisters that are out there listening, learning, fighting this good fight of faith. And salutation, my fellow brethren that are pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. To you all, I want to say shalom. And I prepared this lesson be edifying to the elect. So how you brothers and sisters seen in the opening clips, you know, the people are out there mourning, man. Let's get that real quick. Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Ain't nobody rejoicing right now. which proves that the righteous are not in authority. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn, right? Job 9:24, the earth was given into the hands of the wicked, right? So the people are out there mourning, and they're complaining about how expensive everything is, in this world. Rent keep going up, mortgages keep going up, gas prices keep going up, food prices keep going up. Just watched the article. I got a video I want to show about what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. Just to kind of gives a nice little synopsis of what's going on over there. From I think it was from Fox or maybe it was CNBC as well. But these devils are being found out to not be the beacon of light and hope and righteousness as they proclaim themselves to be, man. People are seeing that they ain't it, man. Esau Edom ain't it, So let's get, before I get ahead of myself, so let's start off with this article. So this is from CNBC. It was published March 18th, 2026, which was, I believe, yesterday. Yeah, today's the 19th. And it reads, as Americans struggle with rising costs, many states' unemployment benefits fall short, analysis finds. So not only are people, not only are the cost of living going up, but the people that can't find jobs, their job benefits are falling short, man. It's just a shit show, man. So it says, key points: the U.S. unemployment insurance system is not prepared for a recession. Experts say with many state benefits covering only a small portion of the average worker's prior wages. So, from my last understanding, when you get unemployment, you get 70% of what you were getting paid. Matter of fact, let me look it up. 1 second. How much? Regular pay. You get unemployment. It says unemployment benefits typically replace about 50%. That's even worse than what I thought. Damn. 50% of your average weekly wage, usually capped at a state mandated maximum amount. In Massachusetts, as of October 2025, the maximum benefit is $1,105 per week. Benefits are based on earnings from the past year base period and generally last for up to 30 weeks. Maximum benefit, while a percentage is promised, the total is capped. For instance, California ranges from 40 to 450, while Massachusetts goes up to 1,105. Okay, so they're saying about 50%. So if you're making 500 a week now, at a job, and then they lay you off because they can't, afford to stay in business anymore or what have you. Now you're on unemployment. Now you're only getting 250 a week. Place is through, man. Absolutely through. No, it says, second point, most states offer maximum benefits far below recommended levels, according to an analysis exclusively provided to CNBC. Some states haven't raised their maximum weekly benefit in decades. As a result, many Americans may be unable to continue to afford their bills during a period of joblessness, which would spread pain across the economy. It says the U.S. unemployment insurance system is not prepared for a recession. Experts say with benefits in many states falling far short, of workers' wages. Currently, most states offer maximum benefits far below the bipartisan recommendation that the top payments cover at least 2/3 of workers' prior average weekly wages. So I thought it was 2/3. I thought it was about 70% that people were getting paid. That's the last when I was last unemployed, which was years ago. It was 70% of here in Massachusetts of what I was initially getting paid, which was still low, but it was better than nothing. But now they're getting about 50%, if that, I guess. According to analysis exclusively provided by CNBC by Michelle Evermore, a senior fellow at the National Academy of Social Insurance, a nonprofit that focuses on the country's safety net. The big takeaway here is that with stagnant maximum weekly amounts, unemployment is not going to be able to act as a stabilizer in 2026, even as well as it did in 2008, she said. So man, it says the maximum weekly benefit in Alabama is $275, while a 2/3 replacement of the state's average weekly wage would be roughly $615, Evermore found. In California, the top weekly benefit is $450 compared with the recommended amount of around $918. New Hampshire's maximum weekly payout is $427, but the suggested top benefit exceeds $1,008. So at the same time, when all this shit is going up, they're not paying nobody. And at the same time, what's going on? Let's get it. Isaiah 19:15. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. This is from End Time Headlines. America is now experiencing non-existent growth in labor force, which we've never had in our history. This was published yesterday. It says job creation in the U.S. has slowed to essentially zero. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said Wednesday as the Fed released its latest economic projections, which included slightly higher economic growth than previously projected, and little change to the unemployment rate. Altogether, Powell said central bankers see a degree of stability in the labor market. But the thing that I think a good number of people on the committee are concerned about is just the very, very low level of job creation, Powell said in a press conference following the Fed's decision to hold interest rates steadily. Effectively, there's zero net job creation in the private sector. After accounting for revisions over the past 6 months, Powell said, but actually, that looks like that's about the economy needs in terms of dealing with very, very low, non-existent, really growth in the labor force, which of course we've never had in our history. Indeed, the country may not need as many jobs as it once did amid lower labor force participation rates and immigration declines, but Powell also noted that labor demands have clearly softened as well. The job market hasn't shifted dramatically since Powell's last press conference in late January, but whatever brief glimmers of optimism existed are now in doubt. The unemployment rate, now at 4.4%, ticked back up in February as the economy shed 92,000 jobs, while December and January's job gains were revised lower by 69,000, meaning there's been barely any job growth in 3 months, man. And what's the scripture say? You just read that. Let's get Ecclesiastes 12. And I'll go straight to the point in 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, right? The keepers of the house go into the economists, right? And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. The grinders go into the jobs, and they're ceasing because they are few, as we just read. And those that look out the windows be darkened. Did they not just say? But in this last one right here, if I click on it. But whatever brief glimmers of optimism existed are now in doubt, man. And that's the ones that look out the windows being darkened, man. They can see that there's no future here, man. There's nothing but destruction coming to Babylon the Great. Ecclesiastes 12:4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, right? So a lot of businesses are closing, especially a lot of these small businesses, right? They're shutting down. They can't afford to pay, their lease agreements with the building that they're in or what have you, because there's not enough customers, because there's not enough people shopping. And it says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, right? So people are waking up early in the morning looking for jobs and aren't being able to find any because there aren't any. They're ceasing. And all the daughters of music shall be brought low, and the music is absolute trash. Everybody knows. Everybody should know that. Let's see. Let's get. Let's see. I wanted to get, because this place is out of here, man. So let's get, because it's only getting worse. So let's watch a little bit of this. Hopefully it works. So lucky, I don't, doesn't seem like the Lord wants that to come out, but Lord's will, maybe I could do it, link it with another lesson, but let's see what he has to say, and I'll get a couple more scriptures and I'll wrap it up.
Grocery prices aren't down. Frozen orange juice is up 12%. Who gives a fuck? When's the last time you went to the grocery store dying to get some Minute Maid frozen OJ? I know I have. They also said sirloins were up 20% due to Donald Trump's tariffs, but that's simply not the case. Tell the whole truth. Right now, the United States cattle herd is at its lowest since the 1950s. Where the cows at? It's simple economics. If the supply is low and the demand is high, the prices are going to go up as well.
And why is that? Because they've been offering all these different cattle and offering all these chickens. You can't forget about all the things that will happen over the past couple of years. So these devils are purposely bringing this place down, and it's all through the spirit and power of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Because as it says in Proverbs 21:1, let's get that real quick. Proverbs 21:1, and it reads, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. So the Lord is making these devils do this, man, and that's bringing a complete catastrophic disaster to this place, man. 2 Ezra 6:22, and suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, right? Everything that is together, right, society together as a whole, shall suddenly be unsown, which represents chaos. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, and that's where we're headed to, man. As these things continue to escalate and people are not able to make ends meet, people still got to eat. People are gonna start stealing food out of the stores, and if there's some kind of disaster, or there's some kind of T attack, all types of things will force people to run up into these stores and start looting, man. And it won't take much, man, because these people are already on edge, man. You talk about here in Babylon, man, people are so used to, it's my money and I want it now. This instant gratification, constantly being satisfying the flesh. So how do you think they're going to act, man? The scriptures speak about the love of many shall wax cold, man. Scriptures speak about how they shall have no pity upon their neighbor and shall spoil their goods because of the lack of bread. These are the times that we're coming into, man. And these people are mourning right now, man. And it's only going to get worse, man. All praise to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. This is Isaiah 24:7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, all the merry-hearted do sigh. Right? As the girl in the first video says, do they not want us to be happy? Well, I'm going to read that. Because this place was established on blood, shed in wickedness, man. And deceit, So you devils, you thought you was going to be able to sail off into the sunset after all the evil shit that you've done to the children of Israel. Well, you're in for a rude awakening, man. 8th verse, the mirth of the tabret ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with a song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone, man. And that's what's happening in a city near you, man. People can't afford to go to movie theaters. People can't afford to go out to restaurants. People can't afford to buy clothes. As a Moabite was saying, people can't even afford to have children, man. This isn't a prosperous, kingdom in the sense where even the civilians, the lower class can and just enjoy life and rejoice. No, this is completely predicated on the rich becoming richer and the poor becoming poorer, man. And that's what happens when a wicked ruler is in authority, man. Let's end off with this, because this is what we rejoice in, us sincere brothers and you few sincere sisters, man, because the Lord, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, are working a mighty work, man. Because our enemies are suffering, man, because of what they have done to the children of Israel. This is Baruch 4:30. Take a good heart, O Jerusalem, for he that gave thee that name will comfort thee. And this is comforting. Miserable are they that afflicted thee. Who afflicted us? Right? Esau, Edom, the top. Psalms 83 goes through the list of our enemies. And Esau, Edom, self-proclaimed white man, is the top one that did it, man. Him, those small hats, the Amalekites, right? The Moabites, the Ammonites, the Hamites, the Ishmaelites, the Elamites, all of them. They all help in bringing the children of Israel down. They all rejoiced at our fall, man. And they do it to this very day. All you got to do is look at, one of the best ways to see how confederate that these devils are is to go to see in a hospital or in colleges was what, in my personal experience, what I noticed the most. When you see the different nations, how they're together, like when they come together against Israel. Hospitals, the higher up you go, the pastier the people get. You go all the way up to the top, it's some damn Edomite most of the time, 99% of the time. If not, it'll be Moabite or some shit. But mainly it's usually an Edomite male. Then he has a bunch of other Edomite dudes around, bunch of Moabites around licking their ass. Couple token Nick and Dubs up there kissing Esau's ass. Then you have Elam in there, the red dots with the doctors and shit like that. Moabites, it's the same thing. And you go to the colleges, it's the same shit, the same exact thing. You rarely see Jacob in there, northern or southern kingdom, and that's them being confederate against us, man. And the Lord said, miserable are they that afflicted thee and rejoiced at thy fall. We seen a Edomite woman at the beginning from Canada at the beginning of the video, and then a Moabite man, and then if we kept going, I'm sure we would see more Edomites and all that. But now they're being afflicted because they rejoice at our fall. Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. And what's that great city? Babylon the Great, aka America, man. Now miserable is this place. For as she rejoiced at thy ruin, right? They said, surely this is the day we have seen, we have found it. Speaking about when they completely subdued our people, man. That's what the heathen said. It says, for as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation. For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning. And as the scriptures say, I'll end off on that. What's that? 2nd Ezra 8:50. For many great miseries shall be done to them, and that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride, man. So many great miseries are coming to these devils, man. And anybody, that joins hand in hand with these devils, you're gonna catch the wrath of the Lord as well. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to speak on this. They're being afflicted because of the things that they have done to the children of Israel, mainly to the elect, man, but ultimately the whole nation of Israel. So Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi are indeed avenging us on our enemies, man, right before our very eyes. And that's something to rejoice and be comforted in, because Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi have not left us comfortless. They have not forgot us, and they will not forget us, man. You have to always meditate on that, believe that, and trust in that, man. Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi got their elect, man, and Lord's will, we're of that number, man. As the scripture said, give diligence to make thy calling and election sure. Pray without ceasing. Do the things who have ever called upon him and was forsaken. So do the things that the Lord said to do, and you shall not fail, man. So I hope and pray this lesson was edifying, comforting, exhorting to the elect. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who teach and rule well, who taught me his truth. Salutation, you brothers and sisters that are out there listening, learning, fighting this good fight of faith. Keep fighting, keep striving, keep pushing. We're almost out of this bitch. And salutation, my fellow brethren that are pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. To you all, I want to say shalom, abab, abal, and kwam yasharala. Hey, shalom. To the next one.